What's going on, guys? I'm going to be showing you how to install our universal bracket onto existing towel tidy. As you may already know, our universal bracket just bolts onto existing brackets. You can keep your indicators and your plate lights all in place. For some brackets that are triangle shaped, such as this Evotech or RNG brackets, we do need to make a modification and cut across here. I'll be showing you guys how to do all that in the next step. Before we make any cuts, you have to take in consideration what bracket you've bought, our normal or the short version. If you have the normal version, your cut line is going to be a lot lower than the short version. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hold this up against the bike and then we're going to start marking lines. So for this example, we're going to install the short universal. And we're going to sit it right in the middle of these lines as best as we can. So what we want to do is see where our lines end, come down about a centimetre, and then we'll come across and draw a straight line. So it's going to look roughly about that, to make sure we're even on both sides, and then we'll just draw it across. So we've got that all nice and straight. We're just going to mark our line to cut right across the ruler, and then cool, so that looks good. So we've marked the lines. I'm happy with this. We need something to cut it with. For this example, I'm going to use an angle grinder, but you can get away with using a handsaw. Most of these towel tidies are aluminium, so they're pretty easy to get through with a handsaw as well. Let's go. So if you are going to use an angle grinder like me, make sure you take your time with it. Make sure you're following that line as best as possible. And if you can, try and wear some safety gear like goggles, because this stuff, if it goes through your face, I don't have that stuff. I'm going to be as safe as I can and take my time. Made a little bit of a mess, but careful because this will be hot as well, but you should be able to just pull that off. What we're going to do is just clean up some of these sharper edges with the grinder. You can just get that across the back of it and then clean that up. Cool, so that's looking pretty much perfect. So all that's left to do now is just line up our flip and dip bracket in the middle, roughly about here. Use the provided countersunk M6 screws and then bolt it all together. Get one in loose, let that dangle. Get the other bolt. Use the washers on the rear side. We'll get one in snug. Nice noise, isn't it? So like this. Now we'll just nip this final bolt up. That's technically all installed. All that's left to do now is get a plate on and drill 2 new holes lower down on the plate. So for the universal, one of the most important things to think about is where you drill the holes in your plate. You might be tempted to drill it in a normal position, like high on the plate. But the whole point of the universal is that you don't know it's there. So what you actually need to do is bring your plate way up to a normal position and then you're drilling your holes way lower, like around here. Don't be drilling them high and having it sit this low. It looks terrible. It'll make sure it's closer to the wheel. It's problematic. So make sure you mount your plate in a normal position so it looks more low-key. So I have a plate here with already drilled holes. You can see how low they are. And when we mount it now, the plate will sit way more normal, work with the light better, looks way more discreet. So I'm going to get this bolted on and then we'll show you the final product. So as you can see, we've got a nice adjustable bracket with relatively low steps. Fully flips, looks good, nice and discreet here as well. Side profiles nice and thin. You've got your existing plate light, your indicators all work. I'll show you with the plate light. So as you can see, we've not touched any, we've not even taken the seat off, and we got a bracket on the bike. The good thing about a universal, again, like you can take it off really easily. You can bring it with you. If you sell the bike, you can keep the bracket. That's it. Thank you guys. Enjoy. I'll see you on the road.